Hey guys, so today let's talk about metronomes and what are some of the features you can look for in a good metronome. Now, as musicians, metronomes have been used for hundreds of years. So this sort of lets us know that there's some sort of sense on, yeah, it's good to have good timing when we're learning things and playing things. So we should take that on board, I think. And as drummers, especially because essentially, you know, primarily our role is keeping time playing in bands, so it's expected that we're going to have good time. And another thing with the metronomes, learning something especially new, it really helps us learn it in time, because if we're, say, learning a linear pattern where each limb is playing its, you know, its own part of the beat, and if we don't have a metronome, we may not be 100% sure that they're actually, each one's going da, 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 and how it's meant to sit. And as human beings, excuse me, my throat. As human beings, we're very physical, and repetition plays a big part in how we learn things. So if you're learning that and you're a bit out of time, guess what? Your body's going to play it out of time, because that's how you learnt it. And then if you have to go back and fix it, then you've got a correct muscle memory, which is not fun. So we want to make sure we learn it straight up in the first time. And now metronomes are very accessible today, especially with the technology and apps on the phone. I remember years ago, you know, I bought a metronome. It was like, you know, it was like $200. This is like, you know, 20 years ago. And, you know, I could put subdivisions in it and accents on different things. It was like, yeah, this is really awesome. And like, you know, and now a student will come in the studio and go, oh yeah, I got this really cool metronome, does all this. You know, it was like $2.99. I'm like, whoa, dude. So, you know, we should always look at investing in a half decent metronome. In the end, the best metronome is the one you've got, but there are certain features that we want to look at. So what are some of the features that we want in a metronome? The first feature I'd say to check out for is subdivisions. This is awesome, especially for learning a beat. If you're in 4/4, instead of just having get, like that, and then that means that little note in between, especially if it's slower, helps us stay really tight in the time. And as you move on, like nowadays, a lot of the metronomes you could put triplets, get, or 16th notes. I don't get. It's a bit fast for me to sing that, but you get the idea. You can put the different subdivisions in there within the main beat, and that really helps us practicing, as I was saying before, about learning something new and trying to make sure we're really nailing it. That can really help. And I know lots of, especially like studio situations when I've been doing a recording, and it could be, you know, a slowish sort of tempo, and so the producer might just go, okay, let's put a 16th on the click here just to get everyone super, super tight and dialed in. So it really helps like that. Another thing is having accents. So you might be going like, beep, doot, 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 beep, doot, do, do, and it really helps you identify where the start of the bar is. And this comes in into its own, especially if you start to get into some more creative ideas and doing groupings and little ideas that go over the bar line. It helps you identify and know where that one is, especially when you're practicing, because you can lose that one pretty easily otherwise. So that's a really good feature to get into. Another one would be look for some that do time signatures. Now, you don't have to jump straight in and, you know, get like 21/16 happening. Even just simple things like 3/4 or 2/4, you know, 7/8. 5/8, just those sort of different things allows you to practice some different ideas and get different things out in your playing. So, you know, it is a pretty common thing on a lot of the metronomes out there, and it is a handy thing to have if you're looking for different features. So what are some of the bonus things we can look for when we're getting a metronome? Some of the ones up there that, yes, do cost a few dollars will have some of these great features, which does make practicing a lot easier, that's for sure. One great thing is a timer. So a timer, you can get it to set. Generally, it will, like, you start practicing, and while the metronome's running, it'll just show you how long you've been practicing for, which is awesome. That way, if you're you know, keeping a little bit of a practice diary, you can keep track on that, know how long you're practicing things for. And others can have the reverse. It's a timer. You might want to practice for 20 minutes, so you put it on 20 minutes and it counts down, and after that 20 minutes, bang, it'll cut out. So that's a really good thing to have, is a timer. The next thing would be advanced timer settings. This is where you can set the metronome where, say, after every minute, you want it to speed up by 5 beats per minute, and it will cycle, that sort of thing. Another great one, I had this time tramer app. You could set it for, say, 10 minutes, and you might want to go from 70 beats a minute to 180 beats a minute, and over that 10 minutes it does all the algorithms and just works it out. So you're just sort of starting at this tempo, and 10 minutes later you're like, cranking in there. And that can be really good as a practice tool when I'm saying, just trying to work on an endurance thing, or just get a pattern where you're just going, okay, I just need to keep my chops up here, just get playing and that sort of thing. We're not working on speeding up. That's not the issue there. We're just looking at how we can use this as a practice tool. So that's a really great one to look at there. And you can also set them so it might be every 8 bars, I want it to speed up 5 beats per minute. So that's another advanced timer setup that you could use there. Another great feature to have on your metronome is beat flashing. This is basically where there is no sound coming out of the metronome, but it's going psh, 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 and flashing on the beats. And often it might be like, say green for beat 1, and the reds might be, 2, 3, 4, like green, red, 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 green, red, red, red. And you're probably thinking, wow, why do I want to flash like that? Well, what can happen if you're doing a live gig and you've got your phone there, and it might be, you might be sitting with the band and you're like, wow, I'm not really that familiar with these songs, but you've got the set list there and you've sort of got all the tempos written out. You just put the tempo on, whatever it is, and then the metronome will just flash over there for you. And so that way you can at least get started in time and get it moving. And you can set them to after 20 seconds or so to shut out, or you could keep it going the whole time. And just that flashing, you'll be surprised. Just by looking at it, we can get a really good identification of where the timing is. And that way the rest of the guys in the bands go, oh, that was good, man. You started that song really well. And generally once you're in the groove, you can sit there too. So that's one thing, is getting the beat flashing for the metronome as well. And one final feature to look out for in a metronome is a set list. This is basically where, when you're going through, you might have a metronome set at 4/4, and it might be 120 beats a minute, and you've set it to have 8 beat subdivisions, and you've got whatever your sounds are for the quarter note and the other notes. And then you can actually save that as a preset with a name as well, like the name of the song, and then you can enter it into a set list. So you can do that. Say you had your set list with whatever, however many songs are in your set list. It could be 20, 50, whatever, and you just put that in there. And so when you're with the band, you just get that, and you can just look for the name of that song, and you just press that. You're not sitting there turning tempos up and down the whole time, or this is a slower, I've got to add the subdivisions in there. Oh, okay, this song's faster, I need to take the subdivisions out. You don't have to mess around with any of that. You can just get straight in there and play. There you go, guys. There's some great features to look out for in a metronome. Yes, of course, there are always ones that are going to do way more than that and ones that will do way less than that. But there's some key things to look out for to get you started. So have fun with those, and don't forget, if you only have the metronome you got, then that's the best one to use. Get in there, have fun, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.